are getting ready to go qualifying for the final time this season in the F1 Academy Series. Welcome everyone to Abu Dhabi and the Yas Marina circuit, where we are under the lights just like we were in Qatar a week ago. This the circuit that the drivers will be taking on this evening. When we go racing, it'll be for 14 laps around the Yas Marina circuit in total. 16 turns around, plenty of opportunities for overtaking. But of course, first we have to go and set the grid, and that will be done for all three races in this qualifying session. If you're new to F1 Academy, a warm welcome to you wherever you are tuning in from. Where have you been all this time? It's been a superb season so far. 3 more races coming up for you this weekend, and the grid for all 3 of those will be decided in this qualifying session through the first, second and third quickest time of all drivers. We're here to call you through the action throughout the weekend. Myself, Chris McCarthy, alongside me is Joe Osborne.
Good afternoon. I'm really excited for this. 30 minutes just started now. You see all cars released. And why am I excited? Well, these drivers have got to get those 3 laps in. Normally, we sometimes see a surplus of time in this 30-minute session, but that won't be the case, I don't think, because the drivers have got to get 3 laps in. We saw track limits, so as soon as you do 1 track limit, that lap is gone, and it is gone forever. It's under the lights. We saw in Qatar last week, for the first time ever, under the lights for F1 Academy. The lap times really dropped as the track temperature was lower. We saw a track evolution of 1.5 seconds, so I expect to see the same in free practice this morning. The 56.1 was fastest for Chloe Chambers, this car in shot here in the Haas livery, so I expect pole might creep into the 54s, and we've got a lot of sub-stories, haven't we? Here is one, Amna Al-Khabazi, local driver. We haven't had a local driver get a points finish in a support race since when, Chris?
It was back in 2011, and it was Amna and Hamda Al-Khabazi's father, Khaled Al-Khabazi, in the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup. So can they go and replicate that? Amna Al-Khabazi posted about how she's so happy to be racing here, not just in support of her family, her friends, her sponsors, her team, but also the marshals around the circuit who she's got to know very well throughout her career. She actually won around this circuit in the 2019 UAE Formula 4 Trophy round, which is here competing also this weekend. Ella Lloyd racing in that, and all the best of luck to Ella Lloyd, who will be racing with us next season with Rodin Motorsport, sported by McLaren, and also racing with us next season will be High Tech Grand Prix. They will be joining the grid. News just coming in this afternoon that they will be bringing 2 full-time drivers and a wildcard entry to each round, expanding the grid to 18 cars. High Tech Grand Prix, Joe, who have been so successful in Formula 2, Formula 3 and all the other support series, Formula 4 across the European Championships. There's Susie Wolf, a happy birthday to her. What a birthday present, her championship expanding to 18 cars for next season.
Yeah, it's mega. She's done such a good job attracting another top team. The teams already involved really are the who's of motorsport. When you look down the order, Prema, Rodin, ART, MP Motorsport there, Campos, you've already got the best privateer teams in the world, and then High Tech joining that, even better, more the merrier, I say. Don't be worried about some of these cars boxing if it's the first time viewing in qualifying. The cars have to leave on cold tyres, no tyre ovens, no tyre warmers, so they tend to come in and bleed some of the pressures out. We saw this split strategy in Qatar. Some do it on the outlap. Dorian Pan, same in Qatar. She does once past and then boxes. She wants to get them even hotter, get the pressure even higher, so the bleed of the tyre pressure is more dramatic. She can go longer. That will be important because they've got to do 3 lap times. Bustamante doing the same. So it looks like Prema and ART like the once past, whereas Campos and Rodin like coming straight in. But look how much detritus there is off the racing line already. We've just had a Formula 1 practice. They've been shedding that. So as a driver, it's a quandary. Do I weave to get tyre temp but get the tyres dirty, or do I keep the tyres clean but potentially cooler? That is a hard decision to be making right now.
and Leah Block confirmed for next season as well. That news just coming in this afternoon. The Williams back driver will be back racing for ART Grand Prix next season. Courtney Crone has already secured her place with that team for next year. We saw her earlier this season at Miami, so that team filling up nicely. And Abby Pulling could become a champion for the second time this season. We saw that back in 1999 with Mika Hakkinen. I think she'll be pretty happy to follow in the footsteps of Mika Hakkinen, who is in the paddock this weekend supporting Kush Maini in Formula 2. Of course, we had a cancelled race, meaning there were extra points available. Dottie and Pam would have to basically go and win everything and get every pole position. Abby Pulling would just have to score a single point. I don't think that's going to be on her mind. I think what will be more on her mind, Joe, is the fact that she's tied on 7 wins with Marta Garcia. She's got a chance to go and get a record-breaking 8th win this weekend. She's at Yas Marina, a new circuit, and a chance to go and end F1 Academy on a high, and then look towards moving into GB3 next season with Rodin, which is the prize for the champion.
Yeah, I don't think she'll be focusing on the 8th win. I think she'll be focusing on the 9th and the 10th
yes,
one.
Precisely.
Try and get to double digits there as well. Dominant year as well with pole positions. Every pole position has been either Dorian Pan or Abby pulling on 7, Pan on 5. So that could swing in Dorian Pan's favour with 3 pole positions up for grabs in the next 25 minutes. It'd be interesting to see where they end up. We're looking at Bustamante green in sector 1, but not really a representative time yet. There's still a bit off what they did earlier. 24.5 was their fastest sector 1, so we're still a second and a bit off that. So this looks like it's going to be another prep lap coming into the chicane, turn 6 and 7, painfully slow in a race car, but really easy to lose time. You can run in a bit deep and lose traction onto this next long straight all the way down to turn number 9. You can see Emily de Houch still warming her tyres up. Is that going to affect Bustamante? She'll be wanting to get these banker laps in. There's going to be a lot of drivers pushing hard. The chance of a red flag and a stoppage are high. All the drivers know that. And a purple sector for Bustamante. Sounds like a big lock-up in the background. That's been a theme of the weekend for all the series out there so far here in Abu Dhabi.
No, just under 2 tenths between the top 4 in practice. They were Chloe Chambers, one to watch in this session. She's on an outlap. Abby Pulling was 2nd. Dottie and Pam was 3rd. Hamda El Khabaisi was 4th. Remember, they need 3 laps. Their quickest 3 laps will be their times that result to set the grid. The fastest lap will set the grid for race 1, second fastest laps for race 2, third fastest laps will set the grid for race 3. We'll keep you across everything as we go throughout the session. Here comes Bianca Bustamante, has been in a little bit of bad form by her high standards in this F1 Academy series. She comes across the line to go P2. She'll want to end her time in the F1 Academy series on a high and on the podium, and she's off to a good start. P2 so far as she ends that first real flying lap in this session. There's that lock-up you mentioned, Joe.
Yeah, it's so easy to do there, trailing the brakes into T12. Maybe a brake pass adjustment needed as we go for another replay. This time Hamda El Khabaisi into turn 9, another large lock-up. They're the sort of size lock-ups where that can start to flat spot the tyre and become a problem for the rest of that run. I think most cars will do 2 sets of tyres in this qualifying session, so they're going to go on their second set roughly halfway, and that will give them a chance then to get another go, another bite at the cherry. These tyres have a good drop-off of about a second a lap round here.
We've got interns here from Discover Your Drive now that we are looking at. F1 Academy always looking to support several programs. They actually had the Champions of the Future Academy program out racing at the Al Forsan circuit this week as well. And we must congratulate champion Luna Flusha, who won the OK and senior class as well. Mercedes-backed junior driver. They took all the female drivers to the paddock this week to meet the F1 Academy drivers. She certainly a star of the future in F1 Academy. Prize for winning the Champions of the Future Academy, a test in the series. So definitely do go and check out that, a series, a karting series supported by F1 Academy. But great to see all these initiatives supported by Susie Wolff and F1 Academy. Not just a racing series, it's an initiative that they are trying to build throughout the sport. Bianca Bustamante coming across the line, fastest once again. Leah Block now second place, knows that her place in this championship is secured. That might give her a little bit of extra confidence, Joe, going into this session.
Yeah, definitely. It's a nice driver mentality to know you're secure for the next year. You're not worrying about that. As we see, all Prema cars still sat there at the moment. It's an ART 1, 2, 3 in qualifying. It's actually been very close between the ART drivers in qualifying form. Bustamante winning that battle in the ART 5 times, Nobles 3 and Block 4. So if Block were to out-qualify Bustamante, they would finish equal in that inter-team rivalry, which is always so important as a driver, be able to walk around the garage or the awning knowing you're the best the team have got to offer. And talking of best to offer, there's Abby Pulling, but that was not the best she could offer into turn number 6. Ran in deep, like I said, easily done that, and that will compromise all the way down here. So it was a purple sector 1. I would be most surprised if it will continue to be a purple sector 2. She's in good space, so she may just think, I'll keep pushing, even though the lap time's gone. She won't want to fall into the clutches of the cars behind, and that is a yellow sector 2. So it's potentially this lap done. She's doing okay at the moment, but she will want to obviously lift herself higher than 5th. 20 minutes remaining.
Abby Pulling and Dottie and Pan have shared all pole positions this season. Will we see them challenged now in this final qualifying session? So far, Bianca Bustamante, the one doing that. Hamda Al-Khabaisi, second place. Leah Block in third, looking for her first podium in this series. Amna Al-Khabaisi, her sister Hamda just in front of her, but no longer in second place. That is now Jessica Edgar, American Express supported driver. Here comes Alpine, backed Abby Pulling to put herself in second place. If not for that mistake in the second sector, she would probably be challenging Bianca Bustamante. Second place for the Alpine back driver there, Joe.
Yeah, her middle sector was a second off her best this morning, so she's potentially got half a second in the bag if she didn't go. Here's the replay of 6. So we go in deep. Why do we go in deep? We can just hear the brakes locking. So rather than stay on the brake too hard and lock up and potentially flat spot, she modulated that brake pedal, which then caused her to run in too deep. So the lesser of two evils sometimes here, as we look at Lola Lovenfoss into turn number 1, gets the apex okay, car sliding on the way out, bottoming out on that exit curve, which has been doing a good job of doing track limits. Here we look at Amna Al-Khabaisi, another big lock up on that front left. We saw her sister do it earlier in the session, turn number 5. It's really starting to hurt these front left tyres. The ART drivers still in pit lane, Dorian Pan and Vuk, so they must only be going for 1 set of tyres. They're trying to save an extra set for the races. They think the tyre deg is so high they would rather start lower down, would be my prediction on their strategy there. An odd one when you think nearly every race has been won from pole position this year. Qualifying has been important, and you're having to do 3 laps for all of 3 races here. Lovely slide from Andrew Al-Khabaisi out the last corner. Is it good enough for pole? No, P2, just about a 10th off pole position from Bustamante, but good middle sector there from Hamda Al-Khabaisi.
Hamda Al-Khabaisi coming back to this circuit in race trim for the first time since she had a terrifying incident here back in 2023 in F4 UAE, where she had a very high-speed crash at turn 13. We'll talk more about that throughout the weekend. Let's pick up Abby Pulling first of all. Goes across the line, P4 now P1, and that is 4.5 tenths clear from the rest of the field. Emily De House goes P2, and that is a very good time from Emily De House. Chloe Chambers, though, going quick in the second sector. She is the Haasback driver, so if you're new to F1 Academy Series, all 10 Formula 1 teams have supported a driver, and if they have not been supported by a Formula 1 team, then major sponsors have come in, like Charlotte Tilbury, like Tommy Hilfiger, like Puma, like American Express. Chloe Chambers is the Haasback driver. She's coming out the final corner. Where's she going to put that car for this session? It's going to go provisionally to the very top of the times, not just for quickest time, but for second quickest time as well. Nerea Marti has been one of the most consistent performers in qualifying, always in the top 10. The Tommy Hilfiger back driver, that continuing. She is P6 so far, and that P4 in terms of second best fastest.
Here we go, problem at turn 1 for Logan Hanna there. Track limits at turn 1. That lap time will be deleted, unfortunately, running away wide out of there. And yeah, there's no margin for error of track limits. That will be gone. Shout out to House at the moment, P3. Her best qualifying of the year so far is 11th. So great form from Emily de Hausch there. Abby pulling 200ths off at the moment. What can she do? Getting to the halfway point. They're starting to now think, if I can't improve, do I box that second set of tyres and have another go at it? Maybe we're seeing higher deck here, and there's going to be even more than the second that I said there would be on the tyres. Chloe Chambers, remember, was fastest in practice, so it's no surprise to see her at the top again.
One thing we will say is we can't give the third best time, but we'll go with the first and second. Third best, keep an eye on the socials for that once. Abby pulling across the line, and she goes fastest. She's in a real good fight here with Chloe Chambers, but Abby pulling going back to the top of the standings, 1:56.340. This is great stuff between Pulling and Chambers. They're half a second clear from the rest of the field so far. Let's hear from Dorian Pan.
Turn on the magic guns and let's go.
She's just come out of pit lane, Dorian Pan. Maya Verg has been released as well, Joe, and that is the message to the Mercedes back driver.
Yeah, get those magic hands on that were working so well last weekend in Qatar. As we look at Logan Hanna, car moving around, could just hear the tyres locking up, but saved it being a big smoky one. Through the fast left into another left under the hotel here at 14. Got to get the car over to the left-hand side as quickly as you can for this fast committed corner at turn 15 before the last tricky break point. Here we saw cars bottoming out using the curb on entry and then going straight on, but looking good for Logan Hanna. What can she do as she crosses the line? And that puts her 14th. Still some time to find for Logan Hanna in this wildcard one-off, which is very difficult to come in at the end of the season when everyone's got their eye fully in and you turn up, and again probably lost this lap to track limits on the last corner. Another big shout out for de Hausch, her second fastest, actually put us third at the moment, so she is on blistering form as we go on board with Dorian Pan. Car looking loose. This is a setup lap now, so we start our attack lap. Let's ride on board with Dorian Pan. How does turn 1 look? We've seen cars running wide on the exit. She's got to pick the throttle up not too early and force the car out. She keeps, I think, just about a millimetre of tyre on the white line through the fast flowing sequence. Small lift needed just to get the front end back to full throttle. Again, careful of track limits. Nice short shift up to 6th. Braking point here at turn 5 is difficult, just before the 50 board. Late apex will allow a higher exit speed and carry speed all the way down the longest straight here at Yas Marina. Chance to relax. You're already looking for your braking point. The circuit oddly doglegs out to the left here, so that's why you see the cars run in the middle, because suddenly the track on the right hand side will join our tyres on the right hand side. So you can see now we're straight, braking just after the 150, hard on the brakes into turn 6. This is where Pulling went deep. Pin lovely there to the left, opens it up, open the steering at the same time, full on the throttle, and then do the shortest distance possible through this little kink at 8. The shorter the distance, the faster you'll get to the finish line is the theory on that one. Turn 9, reprofiled a couple of years ago, much more enjoyable now. A fast double apex left-hander, so you're going to get the car into the corner nice and early once, let it run to the middle of the track, and then bring it back in for a second apex while fighting the car back over, really quite loose on exit at times for Dorian Pan here. Triple right-hander coming up, turns 10 and into 11, then we brake, but there's no straight point, so it's easy to lock up here as well. Really well controlled here. Hands are looking pretty magic at the moment for Dorian. Last left of the lap, very close to the exit here, up to the wall, use all the track, fight it to the left. Committed and blind, turn 15, use as much curb as you dare to shorten it. Last corner, late apex, and then a mad dash to the line. It's looked like a strong lap for Dorian Pan. What can it do for her, and what position will she go? P11, maybe some more time to find as the tyres come up to temperature.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Joe Osborne. That Dorian Pan going to 11th place, and that is Kimi Antonelli watching on. So Kimi Antonelli, of course, will jump in the seat for Mercedes next year, racing in Formula 2 this season. Will finish his campaign before going on to Formula 1. The champion in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine last season. And raced against the likes of Maya Verg in that series. Maya Berg also racing against Kimi Antonelli and beating him in karting to win her WSK Final Cup title. We watch Dorian Pan making her way down now this braking zone. You can see the car dancing around there under braking, Joe. You've got plenty of time to think about those braking zones. How does those affect you as a driver?
Yeah, when the car's feeling good under the brakes, it's mega, but yeah, dancing around like that does make you a little bit cautious. Next time, as we look at our youngest driver on the grid, Aurelia Nobes has been fastest in Sector 2 at the moment. Great sector as well, clear of everyone. Dorian Pan, 10th and a half down at the moment on Pulling's lap on the graphic as well. What can Aurelia Nobes do at the moment? P15, she needs to lift herself up, and she does, all the way to first place.
Wow. Aurelia Nobes, the Puma drag-back driver, going up towards provisional pole position. What a time from Aurelia Nobes there. Takes herself up on to the front row of the grid and to the top. P4, her best result, which came back at Zandvoort. That's hugely impressive stuff from Aurelia Nobes. We jump on board with Dorian Pan, though, Mercedes-back driver. She makes her way out the final corner. Can she beat that time from Aurelia Nobes? No, it's P4 currently, but we still have over 10 minutes on the clock. Maya Berg seemingly struggling, given her run of podium finishes, 5 in a row for her. Let's have a work of Aurelia Nobes.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it's her purple sector 2 because of cutting turn 6 and 7. We saw it earlier. The answer is yes, and that is why that lap is 9/10 of a second clear, because sector 2 was over a second faster. So race control will delete that, and unfortunately Aurelia Nobes will drop back down the order. That was a metronomic rise though, from P5 to P1.
Well, there we go. Aurelia Nobes now goes back down to 15th place. Bianca Bustamante, we look back at her. This is more what we would expect to see. And Dorian Pan actually drops back as well. So this is the risk of going out late. You need to get 3 good laps in. Currently, Dorian Pan would be 13th and 16th. And that's only for the first 2 races. And we'd assume 16th for race 3 as well. So the risk of going out late could be coming back to haunt Dorian Pan here. Bianca Bustamante, let's focus on her for the time being. P5, P14. She needs another good lap here. The pressure is starting to mount on her. Abby Pulling, provisional pole position, 156.340 for her. Here comes Bustamante out the final corner now across the start-finish line. It's P3, and she's within 1/10 of a second, similar to Chloe Chambers of Abby Pulling. So it's Pulling, Chambers, Bustamante, less than 1/10 of a second between them. Nerea Marti, ever the consistent in qualifying, is 4th. Emily De House, having her best qualifying session of the season, is 5th. Then Alcabasi. Here's Dorian Pan. Pressure is on her now. Slides out of the final corner across the start-finish line. That's more like it. P2 for Dorian Pan to join Abby Pulling on the front row of the grid. But she needs another good lap.
She needs another 2 good laps. Her second best puts her 12th at the moment. She backed out of that one because I think of traffic. Looks like Logan Hanna in front, but she needs to fight to find some space. By the end of this lap, there'll be 6 minutes remaining. She might just about squeeze 3 more time laps in, depending on how slow that lap is, as we see Lola Lovenfoss leaving for another go at qualifying. Don't look like brand new tyres. I wonder if they are scrubbed as we look at Tina Hausmann, second youngest driver on the grid. Car looking well poised, just looking as it leaves the corner. Not too much wheel spin, not too much body roll. Sometimes these cars can look a little soft compared to their bigger sibling F1 cars.
Oh, she's dropped again.
Yeah. So this is turning from bad to worse. So at the moment, 14th and 16th for her 2 best, and her 3rd fastest will be 16th as well, because there's no way she's done a lap time that's been legal. So yeah, I mean, they rolled the dice by wasting 15 minutes of the session in hindsight, sat in the pit lane. I get it for tyre strategy for the race, but if you're starting 16th in 2 of those races, it doesn't matter how much grip you've got.
On board with Leah Block. Now the Williams driver confirmed for next season to remain with Williams. She heads now under the hotel. P9 so far, P8 for second best time. She's heading up to the final couple of corners. Can she make herself go a little bit further up the top 10? It's very, very close out there fighting towards the top 4. It's a personal best time, but she remains in P9.
It was a great sector 1 green, but it was only 100th off purple. Just watching her hand position, she's having to move her hands quite a lot on the wheel, so I'm not sure she's hugely comfortable there. Strange in the last race of the season to see that. Normally the drivers would have their wheel set up how they wanted. Let's go on board with Dorian Pan. We've done this twice at turn 1 with track limits. We missed the first one. This was the lap that was good enough to put her second at the time. Let's watch her run wide with the radio.
A single lap time, okay? So full focus.
So this is the track limit camera. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt and said she was just legal, trying not to snitch on her, but that clearly shows there was no tie in contact with the track or the white line. So race control with ultimate an easy decision there, and pulling goes purple in sector 1 again on this second set of tyres. This was the strategy I liked. It gives you 2 chances at it. You need 3 laps, so to do that on 1 set of tyres was always going to be high risk, and pulling looks like she is going to cement this championship well and truly in victitious style, isn't she, with what she's doing so far today?
She is making her way down towards the heavy braking zone at turn 6. Purple first sector, but do not count out Chloe Chambers and do not count out Bianca Bustamante, looking to end her time similar to Abby Pulling in the F1 Academy Series, in style and on pole position. This is a great session from the McLaren back driver, likewise Nerea Marti, and we also have to consider the fight in the championship as well. Nerea Marti is just 30 points behind Maya Verg. Currently she would be starting ahead of her in the championship. This leaves possibilities as well open for Maya Verg, who is currently 45 points behind Dorian Pan in the fight for second in the championship. If Dorian Pan is going to be starting at the back, then Maya Verg could have the opportunity to close that gap down, and we could have Maya Verg closing in on Dorian Pan for second in the championship. Let's watch Abby Pulling on this lap though. She's trying to extend her lead over Chloe Chambers and Bianca Bustamante. She heads across the line. No improvement there. The other thing to keep an eye on is the team's championship as well. Prema Racing, 332 points. They're 28 points ahead of Rodin Motorsport, so they're 28 points ahead in the series standings there. But that fight for second in points could become very interesting if it's to stay like it is, Joe.
Yeah, it really has been. Dorian Pan finally gets a lap time on that her engineer was talking about, up to 4th, 0.3 of a second off, but her second best would see at the moment starting in 14th. That is the quirky nature of this qualifying, where your grids are set by your first, second, and this round your third fastest. So she needs to keep pushing. She's got time for 2 more laps, so there is a chance she can get a better qualifying. But at the moment, Abby Pulling looks in the driver's seat. Purple sector 1 again, as we look at Nobles just understeering a little bit wide, the front not gripping as much as she would have wanted there at turn 9.
Maya Verg's improving on this lap as well. She only needs to find a 10th of a second, but Dorian Pan has now gone to 4th place. So improvements for Dorian Pan takes her to 4th place, but she needs another good lap. So we will keep an eye on Dorian Pan. She's up to 4th, but her second best time leaves her down in 14th. So far we're now watching Aurelia Nobels on screen down in 13th. It's changing all the time. Abby Pulling in a fight with Chloe Chambers for pole position, and Bianca Bustamante. Let's watch Aurelia Nobels across the line, stays in 13th place. Chloe Chambers on a faster lap. Here comes Abby Pulling round the final couple of corners.
How close is this qualifying? From 5th to 10th, less than 0.2 of a second. So a small mistake or a small bit of genius can make a huge difference here, as we see Pulling finishing her lap 700, so over second place. Chloe Chambers at the moment, she will want a bigger gap than that. She does improve. She doubles the gap nicely to a 1.5 tenths. Chambers is on a lap as well though. Can she make that gap smaller, or can she get first place, quickest in practice this morning? We know she can be quick here. The only driver, as we see Hamda Al-Qubaisi come from nowhere. Chambers to to second. That's how quickly it can change.
Maya Berg across the line, P6, but Hamda Al-Khabaisi, the Emirati driver, going to provisional pole position, 156.229. Maya Berg, we ride on board with the Ferrari-backed driver, but it's the Red Bull-backed driver of Hamda Al-Khabaisi, 156.229. 38 thousandths of a second between the top three here at the Yas Marina circuit in the final qualifying session of this 2024 F1 Academy Series. What about Amna Al-Khabaisi, older sister to Hamda? Can she now join the front of the field? She's making her way towards the final two corners. Personal best first sector, personal best second sector as well. The fight at the front of the field is not over. Hamda Al-Khabaisi is improving on this lap, so is Maya Berg. Here comes Amna Al-Khabaisi to the line now. It's a P12, but she still has time for another lap, Joe.
Yeah, it's still pushing on hard in sector one. It's so close. Hamda Al-Khabaisi improving, as you said, pulling only a few hundredths off her best, and does a green sector two. As we look at Houseman there, now dropped to 11th. She was as high as 6th earlier in the session. That would have equaled her best qualifying of the year. Pulling, just locking the front right, but still makes the apex. I don't think that would have been too much time lost. Hamda Al-Khabaisi on a double green lap at the moment. Same with Maya Berg, 50 seconds remaining. So going to squeeze another lap in here. All three drivers on the timing screen will get that extra lap if the tyres will hang on. This is where the front left will start to be hurting. Understeer creeps in, locking the brakes creeps up as well as Abby Bulling crosses the line, reclaims pole position, 10th of the second clear.
Abby pulling back to the front there, 156.120, but will it be taken back from Hamda Al-Khabaisi? Here she comes round the final corner, traffic out the way conveniently, but she's gone slower through the final sector, and that's opened the door for Chloe Chambers to go P2. Personal best for Maya Berg. They've got one more lap here to go, Joe. It's so far Abby Pulling leading. Dorian Pan does not improve, but again, she's got one more lap. 2.5 tenths between the top four, which is Pulling, Chambers, Al-Khabaisi, Bustamante, and then Pan in fifth.
Last lap, Dori, last lap. Let's go, let's go. Let's put everything together.
And that's 3 laps for her. I make that now 3 flying laps, so she's rescued it right at the end of the session. Emily De House, huge shout out for her in P6. She's just gone past Maya Berg to demote her to 7th.
Yep, Abby Pulling still pushing, so she thinks this lap has got a chance of improving. When we see these sector colours, it's so misleading. You see yellow and it's slower, but then when you look at the actual time, and you can be slower by 1,000th and it's yellow, not green, or in Abby Pulling's case, purple, because she's the fastest in sector 1, so she's going to keep pushing hard, and it's a green sector 2. It's just going to maybe give her a bit more headway to the drivers behind, so it'll be really interesting what they can do through this final sector. We're also looking at Hamda Al-Khabaisi's okay in sector 1. She was so unlucky at the last corner on the previous lap. Edgar locking up in the Amex car in front, I think, just cost her a bit of time. She wasn't able to commit into 16 like she would have. Was that a potential pole position taken away from Hamda Al-Khabaisi?
Abby Pulling up towards the final 2 corners. So far it's a first, second and a first for her for the races. She makes her way round the final corner. Can she improve her time? Almost running wide out the final corner there, slightly unsettling the car, but she does go faster. 156.081. Right, over to you, Chambers, Al-Khabaisi and Pan. Bustamante will go no higher than 4th place. We ride on board with Dorian Pan now, the Mercedes back driver. Al-Khabaisi 3rd at best, Chloe Chambers 2nd at best. So can Dorian Pan improve? Out the final corner, the run to the line now. Can she steal it at the end? No, not quite. So it's Abby Pulling who will be quickest in all 3 laps there. Abby Pulling, the 2024 F1 Academy Series champion, will lead us away from the front in all 3 races. And that is a superb way for her to end her time in this series from the front.
Great job, great job. I think that's all 3 poles.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the season. Whether it's 3 poles or not, it's been a delight, so thank you so much, guys.
Abby Pulling will be on pole position for all 3 races for the final round of the 2024 season, and any mathematical doubt of her being this champion can now be scrapped away. Our 2024 champion will lead us away from pole position here at Abu Dhabi. What a performance there, taking those laps away right at the end. Joe, that's a superb performance from Abby Pulling.
Amazing, really, really committed all the way through. This last corner sums up quite nicely. She cemented that series win, hasn't she? She is now champion. Great to see. Interesting stat, the top five different teams represented there. Really interesting.
I wanted that so bad. I wanted that so bad.
And Abby Pulling, already the record holder for pole positions, will now further cement that statistic as well. She's currently tied on 7 wins with Marta Garcia. Can she now go and break another record? She already has it for pole positions, for podiums, and can she leave with a record for wins as well? Abby Pulling for Rodin Motorsport there, trying to help her team chase down this team here, Prema Racing, in the team's championships, just 28 points back. And there, Alice Powell, who works very closely with Abby Pulling and has done for a number of years. They're absolutely delighted with that. Chloe Chambers made a very good session of it, as did Hamda Al-Khabaisi, Bianca Bustamante, Dorian Pan. It was a very close fight between all 5 of them, really. And as you said, 5 different teams represented. Hamda Al-Khabaisi has a chance to put an Emirati driver on the podium in an official F1 support series here at Yas Marina circuit for the very first time, and what a privilege that will be for her. Well done to Bianca Bustamante and Dorian Pan. A great rescue mission. I've thrown a few things at you there, Joe, so I'll let you dissect all of those.
Luckily, I agree with all of them, but yeah, I think Prema weren't happy. You saw the international hand signals there of what did we need to do more, and I think the debrief would have been, I think they were a little greedy on trying to save a set of tyres in 15 minutes of a 30-minute session, and Dorian Pan really had to rescue that, and I think the pressure probably didn't help her through turn 1. We saw 3 track limit offences, and when the pressure's on, you tend to crack sometimes and make small mistakes, and I think that was Prema's story of qualifying. Emily de Hausch, great qualifying. Like I said earlier, hadn't been higher than 11th, so to qualify 6th is awesome. The top 5 all in the same order for race 2 as well, with their 2nd fastest, so top 5 mirror image grid for race 1 and race 2.
Yeah, Maya Berg in 7th. Had been struggling in practice, so a step forward for her. She'll look to try and race on from there. She got a chance to try and fight with the likes of Dorian Pan, has Maya Berg. She is in a fight to try and hold on her place for 3rd place in this series. She's 30 points ahead of Nerea Marti, and she was ahead of Nerea Marti in the qualifying classification as well. Nerea Marti in the top 10, as she has been in every session so far this season. And let's confirm that order for you. We've been talking a little bit about it, but our champion Abby Pulling on pole position for all 3 races this weekend. Chloe Chambers in 2nd place. She will be on the front row. What a result for Chloe Chambers, and an Emirati driver looking to get on the podium for the first time in an official F1 support category here. Bustamante, Pan, de Hausch, well done to her. Berg, Marti, Schreiner did a great job in 9th and block. Tina Hausmann, despite problems in practice, we finished 11th. Lovenfoss, Amna Al-Khabaisi 13th, Aurelia Nobels, Jessica Edgar, and our wildcard Logan Hanna has had problems throughout practice, didn't get a lot of track time, but she up there in 16th, looking competitive, will only get better throughout. 2nd fastest times and familiar faces in the top 3. Abby Pulling fastest ahead of Chloe Chambers and Hamda Al-Khabaisi in 3rd. Bianca Bustamante in 4th, Dorian Pan 5th. Maya Berg jumps up to 6th in this classification. Then Nerea Marti, Leah Block, Emily de Hausch drops down to 9th, and Carrie Schreiner just drops a position to P10. Maya Berg, the beneficiary there. Tina Hausmann 11th, Lola Lovenfoss 12th, and Amna Al-Khabaisi, Aurelia Nobels, Jessica Edgar, and Logan Hanna in P16. And that is all for the qualifying. We will move forward to the races throughout the weekend. 2 coming up. We have race 2 at 15 minutes past 8 tomorrow evening. But first, it will be race 1. Join us 15 minutes past 12 local time tomorrow. We'll see you then.